Hey everyone, it's Beth Lewis.
And Ellie Busco.
Welcome to Unconditioned. We have created this podcast to inspire you to shed the layers of your conditioning and be unapologetically you. Step into your power and love yourself freely and fully.
We'll be sharing on so many topics, including self-love, being your true self, abuse, addiction, sex, motherhood, and so much more. It's going to get juicy.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey everyone. So welcome to our new podcast. I have done a podcast myself for quite a few years now, and I think it's amazing to be doing it with one of my besties, amazing woman, Beth. And together, like separately, we're so similar and also have our own magic as well. And together, it's just going to be amazing to be able to bounce back and forth and share our wisdom with you. So we've been talking about this for a while, and we're so excited to actually be doing it now. We're going to be talking all things women's empowerment, expression, things about being yourself, being seen, putting yourself out there, and really just having the confidence and self-worth to love yourself and live life on your terms. So I'm really excited to be sharing our own stories, our own journey, our tips and tricks we've learned along the way from being in business as well. And I'll share a bit more about like who I am in a second as well, but I'll hand over to Beth to share who she is, and then I guess we'll go back and from there.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. As you said, my goodness, long time coming, right? And little segue into I think one of the things, or many of the things that we will touch on actually, is just do it, right? That phrase from Nike is honestly one of the best. We've just decided to actually get on and do this, and I just couldn't be happier to be here. So thank you for the intro. I am just absolutely honoured to be doing this with you because, as you said, the perfect word there is magic. From the moment I met you, I thought, wow, this is just absolute magic. Soul sister, not the first lifetime we've been together, definitely won't be the last. And I'm just so excited because my absolute mission and purpose, which I live and breathe through my businesses, is all about empowering women, predominantly mums right now, which is such a beautiful journey, just to find their calm within the chaos, find their voice, realize that they're more than just a mum after becoming, whether it's their first, second, or 10th child, because we all go through that. Yes, I know, right? I even got little goosebumps when I said that. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Like double high five, and fist bump to anyone out there doing that. Far out. Just the work that I do with my clients is really all that you just said, honey. It's that beautiful empowering yourself to really find your purpose and find yourself in all the chaos. Because let's be honest, life is not easy, and it will never be super easy, but it's about finding your magic within that and realizing that you can actually create a life. You know, I hate to sound cliche, but that you don't need a holiday from. It doesn't have to be just that grind 9 to 5, not that it's ever 9 to 5, stupid old saying, which doesn't exist anymore. There are options and so much beauty in motherhood that we can harness, which is absolutely amazing. And I know that we'll cover a lot of that here. So just so excited to share more.
Yeah. Awesome. And I guess to give you guys a bit of an intro, if you don't know me, or if you do, and maybe it'll be a refresher, I've been in business for 12 years now. I started out as a personal trainer, training mums to lose their baby weight, but at a deeper level, helping them to put themselves first and to love themselves, make themselves a priority. And I've been business and mindset coaching for 10 years now, or 10 and a half really. And all throughout all the different businesses I've had over the years, the message has really been about helping women to love themselves and make themselves a priority. I'm a single mum of 3 kids. I've traveled all around the world pre-COVID, and we'll start traveling again soon as well. And I've created amazing opportunities and experiences for myself and my children because I decided years ago, after being poor, before I started my first business, that I would never be in that position ever again. That I would create a better life for myself and my family. And so I've used business as a tool to be able to create freedom, to be able to express myself, to be a leader and share my message. And by being that within myself, I then inspire and give permission to other women and men over the years as well, but particularly connected to women, to know that they are worthy, know that they are enough, to find that confidence within themselves and be seen and be vulnerable and be raw and just be themselves and love all of themselves. The pieces that someone told you was not good enough at certain points in your life, that you're bossy, that you're stubborn, that you're too masculine, that you're too emotional, that you're too caring or empathetic or whatever it may be, knowing that all of this is actually part of you and it's your beauty. And even those days where you're feeling like a mess or you're feeling like it's all too much, it's all okay. And it's just a moment in time. And even in those moments, it's all okay. And so this all came about for me because when I was younger, I didn't love myself. I was using drugs. I was in abusive relationships when I was younger. I attracted unhealthy situations into my life. And I wasn't loving on myself. I wasn't loving my body. I wasn't loving who I was. And so I was always chasing that high, whether it was from drugs, relationships, food, binge eating, emotional eating, being busy, then doing it in making money and being busy in business. You know, it can look, and there's always positives and negatives from all of these things. But really, when I was younger, I wasn't loving myself. And so over the years, I've really worked on that. I've let go of things that aren't serving me. I've let go of unhealthy patterns and habits and beliefs. And I've done a lot of work, and there's always more work to do, of course, but I'm at a beautiful place right now where I'm really happy, even when chaos or whatever's going on. And I love myself and I love my body, and I'm confident within myself. I feel sexy. I feel confident. I feel worthy. I feel amazing. And it's so nice to have that within, rather from an external being a certain weight, looking a certain way, or from compliments from others, actually feeling that within, because the external is not real. It can always change. And if you're always looking for that external gratification or compliment or whatever, then you're going to be up and down as well. So it's like finding that from that core level within.
Oh, that's so beautiful and so phenomenal, and just completely reiterates why I adore you so much and why we're so connected. And I think, I know why so many of our beautiful clients and friendships and circles are really drawn to these messages. And I just have the most beautiful feeling about how this will land with so many amazing people out there, because both of us really do stand for that whole, turn your pain into your purpose, right? Because that's where the power sits, and there is so much courageous energy with really tapping into your challenges and really just going, you know what, there are always going to be challenges. What can I do to get through this? I'm going to grit my teeth, but I'm also going to allow myself just to not be bloody okay. And that's actually okay. It's okay to raise your hand and go, I'm really not okay at the moment, or, God, I've been through so much of the same stuff. And I know so many of my clients that I work with and have worked with over the years as well have too. It's not something that's spoken about enough. I went through very similar circumstances with, oh my goodness, the years of emotional eating, the drug taking, the drinking, and all of that, to really just try and numb the pain inside of me, and just that lack of self-acceptance. Just that lack of, I remember certain times, even when I was, my goodness, looking at my absolute best, right, in my early 20s, when I was super fit, tanned, gorgeous, going to the gym and all the rest of it. Everybody externally looked at me and thought, my God, she's so lucky, she's so amazing, she's beautiful, and all the rest of it. And I would literally have anxiety attacks leaving the house sometimes, and I wouldn't even go and meet friends to catch up with them because I didn't look right in the outfit that I put on. I felt fat, or I felt disgusting, and the shame and the self-talk and that negative crap. And so much of that came from, you know, conditioned stuff, unconditional stuff, conditional stuff, and unconscious patterns and thought processes, because I'd heard my mum talk about herself like that, or my nan talk about themselves like that. And women, we're so taught in so many ways to just, if we're not a certain way, then we can't feel a certain way. Yeah, that's actually what really led me into my business and businesses as well. And honestly, I've been mentoring women for around 7 years myself now, which has been so beautiful. And you mentioned the COVID thing before, which was, my goodness, talk about, let's just call it the shitstorm that it's been, right, over the past, the universal energetic, my goodness, I can't get my words out today, the universal energy over the past, how long has it been now? 2-3 years has been so intense. And I was in the corporate industry for about 20 years and really realized that I was selling my soul through all of that, and eventually really did step into my power, resigned, got out of the business, and really started working for myself and tapping into this, I want to serve now, because I've learned and grown so much. And COVID was just a huge push with different directions and so much uncertainty, right? And I'm using that word with air commas because what all of this has really taught me, and why I actually shifted into niching really, really specifically with mums and going a lot deeper to go into those core belief systems that are really holding women back from all the things that we've said, right? Fully embracing themselves, loving themselves, being courageous, actually saying, no, I don't get spoken to like that, or no, I'm not too emotional, I'm not angry, I'm not this, I'm not that. They're all signs of what's not aligned in me, and I'm going to step in to my true power and make myself me. And I'm going to accept every part of that. And going back to the word uncertainty, one piece of absolute wisdom that I share with all of my clients is that there is actually never any certainty. It's all an illusion, right?
Exactly.
People keep using that word over the past couple of years. Every single person you speak to is like, oh, but it's just so hard because there's so much uncertainty at the moment. There's so much uncertainty. There's like, it's literally a buzzword. And it's like, guys, even when you think something is certain, it is never certain. So get comfortable with that. And how do we actually navigate our way through that and just bloody accept that? Because everything can be pulled out from under you in a moment. So, you know, it's not COVID. Let's stop blaming one thing and putting that much power into something like that. Let's go, okay, it's just another thing, which is extra to me. And how can I find my divine feminine flow through no matter what is in front of me?
Yeah, that's so true. I love that. There's a few things, and I'm trying to, like, I was being present whilst you're talking, and also then trying to remember the things that I want. Because so many nuggets. So many good things there. You mentioned one thing about numbing the pain. And that's something I was talking to a client about the other day, actually. And because she's recently been through something where she's given permission, like she's shared this, that she used to be a heroin addict, and recently her brother has passed away suddenly. And she's relating those two experiences in her life of like the most pain she's ever been in, where she's like, well, if I can get off heroin, then I can deal with this grief, you know? And isn't it beautiful that now I don't have to numb myself out with heroin or anything, you know? Like it's I'm getting goosebumps talking about it.
No, I'm getting emotional hearing that. That's so powerful. That's just wow.
It's hard, when you don't numb things out anymore, you're like, oh shit, I don't have any crutches. I don't binge eat anymore. I don't do drugs anymore. I don't go and keep myself busy in my business or whatever anymore. So now I've got to feel it, right? And the great thing is, though, even though it feels so heavy in that moment, all you tell yourself is, this is just a moment in time. This will pass, right? And you can feel and you can recognize that feeling in your body, like, oh, my chest feels so heavy right now. My throat feels closed up. My head feels tense and like it's going to explode. Really bringing that back to your body and noticing those feelings and sensations in your body, not trying to get stuck in the head of like trying to make a decision in that moment or trying to figure it all out logically. It's like, no, what does this feel like? What does it physically feel like in my body? Bringing your attention to that and then just breathing into it and letting it move through your body with tears, with maybe anger, punching a pillow, screaming, maybe just rubbing your chest, going for a walk or a run, hitting a punching bag, shaking your body out, doing what you have to do to move it through your body. And that emotion will move. It's not a logical mental thing. You don't need to make a decision in that moment, even though you feel like you have to sort something out or make sense of it. When you move it through your body, it takes your nervous system at least 20 minutes to regulate after a stressful event. And if it's something extremely stressful, it can take way longer, but it's like move it through your body. Last week, I actually saw a man die in front of my eyes. I saw him being given CPR in the middle of the road, and I felt him leave his body in that moment. And it was such a shocking thing to see. I just burst into tears straight away. But after that, I picked my daughter up from daycare and I went to the gym. I didn't want to sit at home. I didn't want to drive past it again straight away. I went to the gym and I told the trainers at the gym what was going on. I do F45, so it's a group thing and there's trainers there. And moving that through my body on a physical level really helped to move the shock and the trauma. And they kept coming up to me and making sure that I was okay. And we were doing a workout that day that was 10 of one exercise, 1 of another, 9, 1, 8, 1. And they're like, all this counting's going to keep your mind occupied. So you're not thinking about it, you know? So
shift your focus. Yep.
Yeah, exercise, physical movement, all of that really, really helps to move it through. And also, I guess the last piece on that as well is that I'm noticing a lot of death and illness and drama and chaos around me at the moment. And my first kind of realizations and lessons on that, because anything that happens externally, it's like, okay, well, what's this teaching me about myself? And what can I learn from this? So at first I was seeing everyone's in a rush. People are speeding, cutting each other off. There's debris going across the freeway in front of me, like there's things going on in the world. I think at this time of year as well, people need a break. They're tired. They're making silly decisions sometimes. So it taught me, slow down. I actually bought this bag the other day and I didn't read what it said on it until after all of this, but it says live slow, be kind. Right?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like,
shows you.
Yeah, there is no rush. Like time is so fickle. One split decision can be life or death, So it's just slow down. And then even deeper than that, it's like, well, if I'm noticing death all around me, what's that saying about myself? Oh, something's dying within me. I'm letting go of something. I'm letting go of my old life, the phase that I've been in before the last few months. And I'm stepping into this new phase and this new part of life and my journey. And so it's a beautiful thing, because with all death, then there is birth. With all ends, there's new beginnings. And so we can, as soon as we change our perspective, we can see things as beautiful and amazing and have that gratitude, rather than thinking, everything sucks and like everything's hard right now, you know? And same with the COVID thing as well. It's like, okay, that's done. The world is pretty much back to normal. Don't stay stuck in these things or use any of these external things as to be the victim or to have drama or whatever. It's like, look at it, and instead of just jumping back into the way things were before COVID, or instead of using it as an excuse to not put yourself out there or live life on your terms, it's looking at it as the lessons, letting go of any trauma that came up from the whole last few years.
Yep.
And then going, okay, well, be present now. Don't hold on to the past, but like, what do I want from the future? Because you get to create your life, and some things you can change like that. That's a better question. And other things take time, but you get to choose it.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, honey. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so much there. That is just amazing, devastating, terrifying, phenomenal, challenging. What you took out of that, you know, seeing somebody die in front of you. I'm going to touch on that for a moment. Like, it really, you know, if we think about the whole human experience and how much power we put into our life, you know, somebody, my stepdad, God love him, he's like that real kind of like baby boomer mentality. When you have a baby, he's like, oh yeah, God, you get what does he say? You get less for a life sentence, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I turn 40 in December, it's like, oh, careful, darling, it's all downhill from there, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And I just crack up when I hear things like that. But, you know, in all seriousness around that kind of stuff, people can put so much power into that, right? So when you see something that traumatic, because that's really traumatic to witness as a human being, it really just reminds you of our body and our life's mortality, right? And it does remind you how quickly things can change. Like, it can be over in a second. It can be over in a heartbeat. And I love what you did. I think that is just absolutely magnificent, because it'd be so easy. I mean, I know in certain situations in my life when I've witnessed something traumatic, I've gone home and gone straight to the fridge and gone, shit, I need a glass of wine. I can't even think about this right now. And you numb it, and then it gets trapped in your body. Right? One of my most amazing mentors always says there's a very big difference between sitting with your shit as opposed to sitting with the resistance of your shit. And the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, I really need to go away and ponder hard on that one, because I really did think I was quite aware, and I really did feel like I was in touch with myself. And, you know, compared to a lot of people, sure, yeah, I've always been into, you know, communication when it comes to voicing or talking about feelings and everything. But I didn't realize how much I was still putting so many walls up, and how much power I was putting into the numbing as opposed to the processing and the allowing there, and the really sitting with it and allowing myself to feel whatever I felt without judgment. The judgment piece is really huge. So coming out of all of that, I really want to touch on two massive things, and that's judgment and expectations. Touched on.
Can I say one little thing quick before we go into that? Because you just thought to add to the numbing thing as well.
Yeah.
And based on what I was saying before too, it's like, it feels like a lot when you don't numb it out. It feels fucking hard, because it's like, fuck, I've got to feel all of this now. But when you do, it passes so much faster. When you numb it and push it down, it drags on for way longer and creates chaos and sabotage and all sorts of shit in your life. So when you feel it, it's a lot more in that moment, but it's a lot less over time.
I love that you said that. And to add to that, actually, because I feel this is really important, you know, I do food and nutrition coaching, which I've done for quite some time as well, after having a number of health issues. I've got endometriosis and had incredibly challenging digestive issues, chronic insomnia, chronic pain. Like, the list is endless. It's a whole nother episode, right? But sharing that, because I really, really do believe, and this may be a little bit too woo-woo for some people, but I encourage you to really tap into this and possibly consider it, because when we don't allow ourselves to really feel it and process it and we numb it, it sits in our body and it lays dormant, and it creates disease, it creates torment within our body and trauma within our body that we hold on to, and that can manifest itself into cancers, chronic illnesses, autoimmune diseases, and it's just it's a whole nother realm of pain that you're actually creating for yourself. And I love what you said before around, we can actually create something different. We can create whatever we like for ourselves. And what a beautiful thought, right? And there might be some people listening to this right now just going, yeah, good one. Like, I wish I was capable of that. You know what? You fucking are. And I'm saying that with like, I really want to get like pitchforks and burn a bra or something to really hone that message down for people, because I really used to live in that space, like going back to the judgment and expectation type thing, right? I lived in that, and I don't like using the word victim in the sense that I don't want to make anybody feel like what they're going through is invalid, not to invalidate what people are going through and what they're experiencing, because people can be in situations that are incredibly traumatic, that they do feel really stuck, that they don't feel like they have support. They may not have that physical support of family or close friends or anything like that. And that is just absolutely horrible and heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, right? And coming out of that, like, it is just so important to remember that no matter what your situation is, you still do have that power. And Tony Robbins actually said it, and I know he can be a bit like full American rah-rah, but he has some bloody great messages, right? I went to Unleash the Power Within when my marriage ended when I was 34, and I was like, right, I feel like I need to do this straight away, and just felt to do it, so did it. And I love how he says your life changes in a moment, and it happens and it changes the moment you decide that it's going to be different. And that really resonated with me, and I was like, all right, I'm going to decide then. I'm not going to be sick anymore. I'm not going to be this anymore. I'm not going to put power into this anymore. And I'm not going to judge myself the way I have been anymore. And yes, it has been a massive journey to get to a point of being able to flow and fully accept myself and flow through challenges and not go to those vices. When I am going through something incredibly challenging and traumatic. And sometimes I still do. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be really open and honest here. Like, I'm
not perfect.
I'm not perfect, right? As you said before, perfect, right? And this all goes back into the judgment and expectation piece. Like, there are still absolutely times where I'll start having a glass of wine, and it could be almost every night. And it's like, oh, I'll do it for like a week or so and then go, oh, hang on a second, I'm doing the thing, right? But instead of punishing myself and judging myself and going, oh my God, I'm hopeless, or using that horrendous language, it's like, you know what, I'm just going to own that. I'm just going to own that, and I'm going to nurture myself, and I'm actually going to go inward and go and look at myself in the mirror and actually just give myself a hug and say, it's okay, little girl. Like, ask my little girl inside of me, that wounded part of myself, what do you need right now? What do you need more than anything? And in the past, I never would have got on the phone or sent a message to a friend or somebody saying, do you have a minute to talk? I'm really not okay. Because I had all of that bullshit going on in my mind around people are going to judge me the way I'm judging myself. Didn't really have the awareness I'm judging myself, but it was people are going to judge me. I'm going to seem weak. They're going to think I'm this or that. And they're going to think I'm not capable, and I'm going to be a burden. Nobody wants to be a burden. That's horrible. And oh my God, when you start opening yourself up, let go of that judgment and really, really just ask for that support. It is fucking amazing what shows up for you. It is incredible, right? So just take your power back. We put so much power into the negative and the oh gosh, everything that's going wrong in our lives, like you said, with the whole COVID thing and everything. It's like, Oh, and whether it's COVID or it's not, whatever
Yeah.
it is. But yeah, whenever
Always
something
something.
happens in our life, yeah, there's always
Yeah.
something, right? Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
last week I was in gastro hell. I got bitten by a bloody spider, which is one of my worst fears in the world, right?
Yeah.
And only a little garden spider, but you know, I totally over dramatized it. I was like, oh my God, did I mention I'm a spider bite victim? This is horrendous, you know. But I took a few deep breaths, put ice on it, you know, and then I actually, me being me, Googled the spiritual meaning of being bitten by a spider. And
Yep.
it spoke a lot about noticing how you feel when you see one. You know, what's that response? And also, you know, when you get bitten by one, it can really mean that you feel like your life is out of alignment or out of balance, etc., etc. And it's being open. I love seeing signs in everything. And there are signposts everywhere, right? You mentioned it before around like manifesting. You're manifesting these certain experiences to guide you. So you can look at these things in front of you and put that power into the situation, or you can look at it and go, where's the reflection for me? What is that? What resonates in that for me? Is that a rebirth thing? Is this an opportunity for growth? Is this telling me that I need to slow down and just take a moment, you know? So
I wanted to, you said something before as well about the self beat up. And it's like, if you had that drink or you had some unhealthy food or whatever it is, it's also not making it bigger than it is. Yes. Oh, I've gone back there. Oh, I've still got that problem. Oh, I've still got this addictive pattern. Oh, I've gone backwards. It's like, no, we can't ever go backwards. You're where you're at right now. Yep. And even if you have a habit that has come up again that you thought you were over or whatever, it's like, no, it's again just a moment in time. And when we catastrophize it and make it bigger than it is, then we stay stuck and we beat ourselves up and we have that judgment and shame and dogma and stigma and whatever else. And so instead it's just like, oh, okay, that was just a choice in this moment, it's all okay. Absolutely. And for me, I very, very rarely drink. I haven't done drugs for years and years and years, and I don't hustle in my business. There's a lot of things I don't do anymore, but I will still have times where I'll go and buy some cookies or whatever, and I don't have a full binge and eat the whole packet of cookies and a family block of chocolate like I used to years ago, but I might have a few cookies and then I stop myself, right? But the perfect version, maybe I don't eat any cookies at all and I'm eating all fresh, organic, healthy food, you know, but it's like I can
that you grow yourself.
yeah. And it's like, it's not about eating all the perfect food all the time. And it's also not about, sometimes when I'm emotional, I will reach for cookies, but I'll have 2 or 3 cookies instead of the whole pack, you know, and we're always learning and growing and it's all okay. And the judgment piece as well. I've let go of so much judgment lately of myself. And also, but it all started probably about, how long have I been? I'm a spiral practitioner, which uses spiral dynamics, chakras, and things to do energy clearing, emotional clearing, basically, to be able to clear from the root cause different patterns you've had throughout your life at different ages. And when I did the training for that, it was probably 6-7 years ago now, probably 7 years ago now. And one of the things, this is when I really started letting go of judgment, when I went through the spiral for myself, and then when I did the practitioner training. And in the practitioner training, one of the things he got us to do, I think it was on the last day, was to go and partner up with someone who felt like they were the complete opposite to us, that we hadn't really spoken to throughout the whole training. And it's interesting to notice our judgments and our assumptions of someone else. And so the person that I partnered up with, my perception of her was, oh, she's super hippie and just like slow and feminine and soft and just not into business stuff and like just the total opposite to me of where I was at that time, because I was really not connected to my spirituality as I am now. And so she showed up as that for me. I showed up for her as this strong, very dominant, confident, extroverted leader and woman who's like really strong in business. And she didn't feel like she had that. And this person, we then had to go through a series of things together after the training every week. And what we realized, we're still friends now, years later, that we actually had a lot more in common than what we thought. Mm-hmm. And we could also, being those polar opposites at the time as well, you can be the polar opposites and also have a lot in common. But having those things that were opposites, we actually helped each other be more dominant and confident and good in business, be more soft and feminine and spiritual. And so you can learn something from everyone and also know that actually you got a lot more in common than what you think. And so if we stop judging others and making assumptions of others, then we stop judging ourselves as well. And then we just feel like okay and amazing and love who we are. And then you start attracting that from others as well.
That's so beautiful. I love that. I love that. Judgment is such a big thing, isn't it? It's such a big one. It's such a big one. And we're taught to do it from when we're a child, right? Because you hear, your mum might be having a coffee or your dad might be having a coffee with someone or whatever. And you hear them talking about, Joe Bloggs down the road or what they're doing or their opinion of something. And we're brought up in a society that that's just normal. It's just normal to talk about other people. And I feel, especially as a woman and a young woman, oh my goodness, being a teenage girl, right? Remember those days when you're trying to find yourself, trying to find
almost teenager.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My sister has a beautiful 16-year-old girl, and my son's father has a teenager as well, teenage daughter. And honestly, it just brings back all those memories around where all of this stems from. And far out, girls can be so cruel, can't they, from such a young age. And as you grow and you do start getting more self-aware, if you choose to, right? If you do choose to sort of go a little bit more inward and go on this journey of more self-acceptance and releasing that judgment of others and going inward on yourself and being kind and accepting, it's incredible, isn't it, how much you realize that everyone just wants to be loved. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether where you are, who you come from, gender, identify as a cat, whatever. Like every single living being just wants to be loved, accepted, nurtured. It all comes back to that. I ran a program recently with some beautiful mums on Northern Beaches in Sydney called Mind Gym for Mums, and it was such a beautiful experience. And we did so many exercises using a lot of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So I know you are also a practitioner as well as I am for neuro-linguistic programming, and I really loved that originally because I was always curious and I love learning about human behavior. So even as a young child, I'd just be very observant. And I can see my little toddler doing this as well, actually. He's definitely a mama's boy, just watching certain situations, and someone will say something, and even he's only almost 3, and he'll look at me and say, "That's not right, mummy," or whatever. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, such an old soul. And he's such a me, very, very observant, right? And it's such a beautiful experience to look at that and go, wow, how can I incorporate everything that I do and put into my purpose? Because I think you mentioned it at the beginning with your business. Our business is an extension of ourselves, right? It is living our purpose. And running this program and working with mums and working with women, same as you, I've had a lot of male clients as well. And I actually offer a session for any of my mums that if they want their partner, whether that's, man or woman, I'm so happy to do a session with their partner because it's just such a beautiful thing to have those surrounding influences on board when somebody is working on themselves. But going back to the NLP and sort of purpose perspective around all of that in this program, the whole purpose around this is really uncovering why we behave in these ways and where this judgment comes from and where this internal language comes from. And that's what really, really resonated with me around NLP and learning how to get people to learn why they are the way they are, so we can tap into that and shift that stuff. And during this program, one thing I've really, really noticed is what it uncovered for me is my higher purpose for all of this is that all of this beauty flows through to our children. So all of the work that we are doing when mum or dad or anyone in the home who's that primary parent caregiver is calmer, is kinder to themselves and less judgmental of others, we are raising future generations that witness all of that. And how bloody beautiful and powerful is that? Imagine growing up as a child, not hearing your mum, not looking at your mum, looking in the mirror going, oh my God, I'm so fat, or this or that or whatever, or talking about somebody else or whatever. Imagine if you grew up with a parent. And I know you're so beautiful. You're such an inspiration to me with how you speak to your children around all of this. I already do it with my son. Even at his age, it's, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. Let's talk about that, what is a great way to manage that? Let's shake it off, shake it out, and I want to be that mum that really encompasses that. And I practice what I preach, and I teach him how to be okay with who he is, no matter what.
Yeah, I say because for anyone who doesn't know, I've got a little one around the same age as Beth's son. She's 2.5, and I say to her as she's going to sleep at night, I love you, you're amazing, you're beautiful. And I'll say it at other times as well. And then one day she started saying to me, Mummy, I'm amazing, I'm beautiful. And like saying it back to me, and it was so sweet. Or sometimes in the middle of the night she'll wake up and I haven't said anything and she'll go, I love you too, Mummy. It's like,
that is so gorgeous. I love that. Hamish says that as well. It's so beautiful, right? I say to him every night, you are so loved and you are so safe. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. And everything you ever think or feel is okay. And he says the same things to me now. If I'm ever upset or anything like that, he'll actually come up to me and say, it's okay to be angry, Mummy. It's okay to be sad, Mummy. Deep breaths. Just so beautiful.
So self-aware. And they were born in the chaos of all of that. Like I went into hospital to birth my daughter the first week of lockdown, the first lockdown. So like crazy timing. But even so, my son just turned 10. And this morning when I was taking him to school, I said to him in the car, I said, you've been really angry and frustrated at the moment about like lots of things, about anything. I said, why do you think that's going on for you? And he said, oh, I think because I want the money to sort out this thing. He wants like this Robux thing. And I want to talk to Dad. And I said, okay. And do you think when those things happen that you won't be frustrated and angry anymore? And he goes, yeah, unless I want something else. And I said, okay. So
that old chestnut.
So I said, do you think that's a good way to live, to constantly be angry and frustrated until you get something? Because you're always going to want something more. And do you want to always be angry and frustrated? And he said, no. And I said, okay. So do you think we can let go of that and just get what you want? And he's like, yeah. And he really got it. And he even a few weeks ago, he was getting angry and frustrated. And I literally said nothing to him, but I shared this lesson with him, throughout his life. And so he took himself away, and I didn't realize even what he was doing until after, because I was getting everyone ready. And he came back to me and he goes, I'm sorry, Mum, I was angry and frustrated and I took it out on you and I shouldn't have, but I'm okay now because I took myself away and I did some deep breaths. And I was like, oh.
Wow, that's so beautiful, isn't it? I know and isn't that incredible? Because not only is that amazing for him, for his growth and his life and for his experiences, but what a beautiful reminder for you, right? Like I've had moments with my son where, as I said, my goodness, around the same age as your little one, how amazing you can be in a moment where sometimes you even start to lose yourself and your toddler reminds you to take a deep breath. And it's like, oh, good one. Okay. Cool. Yes, I do have this.
Yeah.
And, I think that's so beautiful. And, I know we're sort of coming to closing time, and I just wanted to mention before we sort of start winding up, you mentioned, when you had your daughter, and that touches on a point that I really wanted to send some love to anybody listening who is a parent, a pandemic parent, right?
Yeah.
Because I had my little boy, and literally it was only a few weeks. He was only like a month old or something when the whole world went into the first panic and lockdown. And being a new mum, I was only in a new relationship as well. We manifested our son 5 months into a new relationship. So we hadn't even long been living together. So just in that whole world of all of this newness, when my whole being really, really needed my beautiful familiar support network to gather around me, as any new mother does, right? Whether you've been with your partner for 10 minutes, 10 years, or 10 months, whatever. To have all of that stripped away and not be able to share your baby with those that you love, and have those normal experiences, and have the normal mothers group experiences. Like I think I went to 2 mothers group sessions, and then everything got put online and all the rest of it. So you just felt so isolated. And every single mum that I work with, whether it's been COVID or not COVID, you go through that period of that lack of identity and that feeling of isolation anyway, even when you are surrounded by people. So to truly be locked in a house and terrified about this disease thing that nobody knew about, because that was right at the beginning, right, when you're hearing about all of this stuff and that it's killing babies overseas and everything, and you've got this brand new baby, and oh my goodness, people want to actually see your baby and touch your baby. It was terrifying. So I know so many of my clients went through all of their appointments alone when they were pregnant, even birthed alone without partners, and it was just a really sad time in such a beautiful time, so I just want to send a massive shout out and a huge love bomb to all of those women who did that and who have come through that, and just let them know that it's actually okay to grieve that as well. If you didn't have that normal experience, normal in air commas, or the experience, let's call it the experience that you envisioned or that you would have wanted for yourself, or it's just really beautiful to sort of actually just accept and just allow yourself to, the whole message of this reel of this has really been accept, right?
Exactly.
Allow yourself to feel it so you can heal it is the message, I think.
I love that. I think that closes it off perfectly, because the acceptance, everything we've been talking about, acceptance of self, acceptance of others, that's the opposite of judgment, really, isn't it? That full acceptance and love for yourself and others. And it's okay, whatever you're going through right now, the tough and the amazing, it's all part of your experience, and it's all amazing. And the tough stuff makes you stronger, and the amazing stuff, makes you grateful and have this beautiful experience of life. And the thing is, you're never alone, because you can call on support at any time, even when you feel like you don't have it. You do. There's so many resources out there for you. And if you need recommendations on any of that, feel free to reach out to us. But also, you're never alone, because you always have yourself. And so no matter what's going on outside of you, just remembering how amazing and how awesome and how resilient and strong you are. Because like we were saying before, it's like, you can change your reality at any time. And the thing is, it's kind of a contradiction what I'm about to say, but it's like, you are special and you're also not. Yeah. You're not some weird human that no one else has ever been through your experience, and that you're the only person on this planet that can't overcome the thing that you're going through right now, or that can't, I'll never be able to lose weight. I'll never be able to grow a business because of all these failed attempts that I've had. I'll never be able to save up money again. I'll never be able to have an amazing relationship. I'll never be able to solve this thing with my children. Whatever it is, you're not the only person on this earth that can never have that. You can have anything you want, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. You really can create whatever you want. You just have to choose, like Beth said before, make that decision. Oh, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. I decide this. And then you start to put the things in place by letting go of those limiting beliefs, by doing work on yourself, by healing, by taking action, by calling in the support and resources to then create a new reality and get whatever you want. You have the ability to do that.
That's so beautiful, sweetheart. That is so beautiful. And yeah, what a perfect way to finish. And I'm going to finish that up as well with one of my favorite sayings is I stopped waiting for the light at the end of the tunnel and I lit that bitch up myself.
I love that. That's cool.
And you know, one thing I always say to my clients is we put others on a pedestal, right? We can look at somebody else and go, oh my God, they've got the perfect relationship, the perfect body, you know. And to your message to your son, how perfect was that before? This goes to everyone. It's like, okay, how much power and expectation am I putting into, well, when I get that, I'll feel good. When I get that, I'll be happy. When I get that, I'll feel safe, blah, 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 blah. And it's all just so intense whilst you're waiting for this thing to come off. And 99.9% of the time, it ends up coming off differently than what you thought it was going to be anyway. And then by the time you get there, that you're still unsatisfied because you're still waiting for the next thing. And it's like, okay, bring ourselves back to being present. And as I was about to say, one of the most powerful messages I can finish on that I say to my clients all the time and remind myself of this is that no matter what is going on in your life, we do have this vision, right? We all have it. And for some people, it feels like an impossible, never, as you were saying, like I'll never be able to vision, but it is fucking possible. Just reiterating that. We have this vision of this person that we really, truly would love to become and that we want to become. And in order to become that person, we have to grow. And in order to grow, we are going to manifest challenges, experiences, beautiful things. You know, they're not all going to be amazing. They're not all going to be traumatizing. They're not all going to be hard. They're not all going to be easy, right? They're going to be a series of things that will help you get to this higher vision. So remind yourself of this. Next time you're in a situation where you think, oh, fuck, here we go again. I can't do this. I'm going straight to the fridge for the wine, or I'm doing this, or whatever it is. Catch yourself and stop for one moment. Put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, and connect to that person that you truly know, because you bloody do know somewhere within you, you know you can become one day. If you reject that moment and don't allow yourself to feel it and move through it, you're rejecting that vision. You're rejecting your future self. So don't reject yourself anymore. Accept your future self and allow yourself to feel it so you can get there, and you will.
I love that. I love that. And it's also that another piece, right?
I know, like, we can keep going for like 5 hours. Yeah.
But also you're wanting to become something more than what you already are or what you already have. But if you're already seeing that in other people, they're just a reflection of you. So you are already it. You may not have the money or the body or the whatever yet, but it's already there inside of you, that resilience, that determination, that mindset, whatever it is. It's like if you've already done it in one area as well, you can do it in another. But if there's something you want to become, also know that you're not going to become a whole different person. There's already part of it within you as well. And it's funny because that's the name of my program, is Becoming. And it's about, I help women to be able to scale their business by becoming that version of themselves who can actually hold that and keep it and have it. And it's not really about business. It's about who you become on the journey. It's about creating that life of freedom and being your true self. And so becoming that version and being your true self isn't about reimagining who you really are. It's about letting go of those things that aren't you, that you've just taken on because of conditioning, because of society, because of whatever's gone on in your life, letting the masks and the layers go to be more of who you truly are and who you always have been.
I love that. I love that. The point of power is always in the present moment, right? So it's who you become on the journey. So absolutely beautiful, sweetheart. Oh, I've
Well,
loved every minute of this. I
yeah,
know we could keep going for
I
hours, as
know.
we
I've got
said.
ideas for the next ones and the next
I
one.
know.
Yeah,
So
so we will be
excited.
doing this regularly. We'll also pop our details down below if you want to follow us on socials, join our free groups, anything like that. And yeah, feel free to share this around, this and our free groups and whatever else we share with you. Feel free to share it around with your friends, family, anyone that you know could get something out of it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time. We're happy to help, have a chat about anything. So I hope this has served as a bit of inspiration for you, and we'll be doing these regularly moving forwards as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much, sweetheart. And just echoing everything that you just said, and a reminder to everybody, if there's anyone out there who does feel that they really are alone and you're really, really stuck in that headspace and in that emotional trauma of just, I've got no one, I can't do this, and any of this has resonated with you, please reach out. We have so many resources available, as Ellie mentioned before. And, you know, sometimes you just need someone to make a couple of suggestions, or, you know, as Ellie just said, join one of our groups and get yourself surrounded by people that can help raise your vibration. But it's your choice. So make the choice, decide. Yeah. And we'll see you soon, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks.